Hello, everyone. In this lecture, we are going to be discussing payback period, which is a part of figuring out a return on investment for a capital purchase. So capital expenditures, also known as CapEx, capital investments, capital budgeting, and ROI. So it's a process of deciding what capital investment to make to improve the value of the company. For example, companies make very large investments on machinery because they anticipate that that machinery will speed up production and perhaps the company can generate more revenue, right? And it's used, the payback period is used to determine if a project or a purchase is worth the investment. So the payback period measures the time it takes to earn back an investment. So if a company purchases pieces of equipment at $3,000, and from that $3,000, they expect their cash flows to be $1,300 a year, and that equipment will last 3 years. The company's required rate of return is 8%, meaning that the investments that the company makes, they want to make sure that they earn at least 8% on that purchase. Would it be worth purchasing this piece of equipment? So let's figure this out. So the purchase of the equipment is $3,000 and the life of the equipment is 3 years. And the cash flow we anticipate from that purchase is $1,300 a year. The calculation is your initial investment divided by your annual revenue. Very simple. So when I do that, I take my initial investment of $3,000 and I divide that by 1,300. It tells me that the payback period for me to break even will be 2.31 years. So should you accept or reject this project? Well, let's think about that. The life of the equipment is 3 years. So before that 3 years is up, I'm going to break even with my money. This is when I will earn it. So I would accept this project because it comes in under the life of the equipment, right? So here's the 3 years, the 2.31 years, so it's less than 3 years, we accept the project. So there are lots of downsides to using the payback period, but it is a quick way to determine how long it's going to take you to get back your money, right? So the payback period, it determines if the project will pay for itself with the cash flows to the break-even point. However, it does not give you any information about cash flows beyond that break-even point. It does not provide an overall return. It does not consider the time value of money. However, it is good for a comparison of projects if you want to just look at the time that it will take to get your money back. So here's an example of 2 projects, right? So in the first project, we're going back to the original slide that we spoke about. I'm going to purchase a piece of equipment for $3,000 and it's going to bring me in $1,300 a year, and the life expectancy of that piece of equipment is 3 years. And we said that that would take us 2.31 years to get our initial investment back. In payback method option 2, I purchased a piece of equipment and it's $5,000 and it's much more expensive, but the cash flows, as you can see, increase from 1,300 to now 1,500. But that equipment, that piece of equipment also lasts 3 years. So if I take my initial investment and I divide by that by the annual revenue, my payback period is 3.33 years. So even though that machine will bring in more cash flows to the company, it will take me longer than 3 years to get back my money. And by the end of that third year, that machine is probably going to die. So I'm not going to get anything back. So I would reject that project. So here's what we've learned in this lecture. We've discussed the payback period, and it's a method used to evaluate how long it will take a company to get its investment back on a project or a capital purchase. The calculation is your initial investment divided by the annual revenue. And it's used to determine if a project or a purchase should be accepted or rejected based on only the time it will take. And it does not take into consideration the time value of money. So it's somewhat reliable for you to do a very quick analysis on a project, but it doesn't tell the entire story.